masterpiece, the most esteemed title that a work of art can receive. A masterpiece would be things such as Demon Slayer Opening 2, Korean People, Keijo, the transgender flag, Yae Miko's feet, and of course, Steins Gate. Steins Gate has become one of my favorite anime of all time and a staple recommendation for people that enjoy emotional acrobatics, so everyone that feels sexual and or romantic attraction. The key aspect that makes Steins Gate as good as it is its use of time. Just gonna let that one sink in for a bit. In the beginning, when the world was being initially presented, it feels more like a slice of life than the sci-fi psychological seinen that I was looking for, and to be completely honest, I'm still in high school. I still have hope that one day I'll live my own happy life instead of vicariously living through a notably bland and below average anime protagonist. Hope being the operative word. So at first I thought the show was overhyped. However, in time I came to realize that each scene that I thought was only slowing down the pace was actually irreplaceable, and there was absolutely no wasted motion. The plot is fascinating in isolation. The base concept of time travel is a difficult concept to handle, evidently. Even though the world line theory isn't particularly new, Steins Gate added its own idiosyncratic spin while maintaining a very solid foundation, and at no point contradicting itself. The concept itself is also stretched to its limits, finding clever loopholes to escape adversity without disrupting the concept as a whole. The flow of events is logical and easy to follow. Once we became accustomed to the world, which isn't too different from our world anyways, nothing seemed particularly outrageous. I guess you could say that Suzuha becoming the part-timer for a certain agent is quite the crazy coincidence, but honestly, that's about it. There are no glaring plot holes and every decision complies with previously established character traits. Even the thought process of Okabe was easy to follow as he tried to navigate the time convergence and save Mayushi. I found myself coming to the same conclusions that he did on multiple occasions, knowing how irrational or self-righteous they might be. No decision or event felt out of place. And finally, the pacing. I doubt I have to say a lot about this, assuming that you actually watch the show. All the major events are perfectly spread out to invoke a certain reaction or emotion, and do so very effectively. The shock of when Mayushi got shot for the first time, the shared grief when Okabe felt backed into a corner, and the regret right before undoing the Ferris D-mail. The events weren't rushed or overly delayed, rather perfectly timed. All these aspects make for a plot that is almost perfect. I say almost because I don't need the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood fans breathing down my neck. Sorry, let me correct myself. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is the only correct way to pronounce it, otherwise you are culturally appropriating. Although I love the plot, I value well-written characters a lot more. Look, I sat through the whole of 7 Deadly Sins, which has to be some sick kind of masochism, but I endured it because it has some of the best character writing that I've ever seen. At first, I found it difficult to like the characters of Steins Gate, except Ferris, the pink-haired cat girl gets an automatic pass, but the balance and interaction between the plot and the characters was presented beautifully and deliberately. As much as the story was a psychological journey, emotional flagellation for Okabe, each member of the main cast was very well developed and had an individual major effect on the plot or Okabe's mental state. Everyone had their own tragic Straw Hat Pirate backstory and unique motivations for the particular D-mail that they sent. Each character was given ample time to where we could really get invested in their story and motivation, but not too much where their character arc subtracted from the overall plot. But, as I said before, their character arc interacts with the plot itself. As Okabe was uncovering the mystery of each D-mail, it revealed the hidden details and trauma of each character, and led to their individual arc being an integral part of the plot. We really got a deep dive into the darkest, most vulnerable parts of the characters, and came to understand the personas they create for themselves as a coping mechanism, and appreciate them more, which ultimately called into question how much Okabe is willing to sacrifice to save Mayushi. The character of Christina and her relationship with Okabe is by far the most well executed and truly displays the brilliance of the show. They started as simply work partners curious about the capability of time travel and having the occasional heart-to-heart chat. However, when the convergence happened, Christina was the only person that Okabe could talk to, his only support system. She helped him to solve all the D-mails that were created by the other members of the main cast, and in the process, Christina and Okabe became closer and closer until their feelings became romantic. But when the motivation was at its highest and there was only one step to saving Mayuri, saving her meant killing Christina. Okabe had to sacrifice the only person that got him through the prior adversities to achieve his ultimate goal, effectively taking away the only thing he gained from the most agonizing 2 weeks of his life. Their relationship wasn't forced or rushed, it was gradually and naturally built up over 22 episodes and created a seamless and impactful emotional moment that really leaves a lasting impression. Every action, every conversation, every thought, and every moment of the show was intentional and worked together in harmony to serve multiple purposes. The scenes in the beginning establish the characters and their personalities, while foreshadowing what will eventually drive them to send their D-mail. The scenes in the middle display the complexity of the plot, expand on each character, and establish a connection between Okabe and Christina while they slowly undo each D-mail. And the scenes at the end capitalize on the romance between Okabe and Christina that was slowly built up and tie up everything in a way that is satisfactory to the viewer. The sci-fi, psychological, and romantical parts of the show all worked in harmony and always progressed through the entire show. Similarly to the fatalist nature of the show, every aspect of the show affects and contributes to every other aspect. Absolutely everything happened for a reason, and that is the harmonious masterpiece of Steins Gate and why it is my new favorite anime of all time.